I'm Rafaela Sieber. I work for T-Systems as head of XR, and my passion is to implement innovative XR and Metaverse solutions for our customers. And now, please welcome my colleague, Terry, XR Schussler.
Hey everyone, I work for Deutsche Telekom, leading our research into the underlying technologies that enable the Metaverse. Today we're going to talk about the intersection of NFTs and the Metaverse. And now I'll hand it over to my human avatar.
Hey! All right, so NFTs exploded onto the scene in early 2021. And we've all experienced the hype and fire of the Metaverse marketplaces for NFTs, driven mainly by narcissism.
Hey, look at me!
And, of course, greed.
Yeah, let's make some quick money.
However, there is much more value to NFTs when we start to deliver instrumental value and build a bond to real-world durable goods ecosystems. Today, Rafael and I are going to use some Metaverse experiences to explain and demonstrate this for you. Shall we leave?
Yeah, so let's take off.
All right, let's do it.
How about if we leave the fire and hype behind?
Sounds good. I'll follow you. All right.
So Terry, let's start with some definitions. Here's a definition of NFT as found in the Urban Dictionary. Yeah, I would say that's just not right.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit, shall we say, pessimistic?
Yeah, agreed. So how about getting a less emotional definition? Shall we?
Sounds good.
So here's the definition, what Wikipedia says.
You have to take time and study this now.
Yeah, so I would say that's more like it, and we can emphasize a few points here. So first, an NFT can be related with either a digital or a physical asset. And we'll talk about physical assets more later on. Second, an NFT can be related with any digital file, not just digital media. An NFT is simply a digital certificate on a blockchain that transfers ownership rights for digital or physical assets from one owner to another in a manner that is both verifiable and traceable.
Truth.
So I would say it's time for a little quiz, Terry.
Uh-oh.
I go through these and you say if they're an NFT or not.
Okay.
So image.
Definitely.
Animation.
For sure.
Video.
Yep.
3D asset.
Of course.
Audio file.
Mm-hmm.
Source code.
Definitely.
IP rights.
Absolutely.
Your mom.
Well, now hold on a second. You know, your mom might be unique, but she can't be turned into an NFT and traded or sold. So I don't think that one counts.
Okay, good catch. I thought I'd slipped that one by you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I will continue. So your car, your house, a T-shirt.
Now, definitely, I would say that all of these are, in fact, NFTs.
Yeah, and I would say you're right. All of these can be an NFT.
Yeah. So, Rafaela, why are NFTs so interesting?
Yeah, so that's interesting, and I would like to say that it's because of their uniqueness and because the ownership can be clearly verified. So NFTs can be used across applications developed by different companies, and they can be traded easily through secondary markets. And these features open up possibilities for new use cases and business models.
So my key takeaway is that NFTs create many new ways for value to be created by both developers and asset creators.
Correct. And I would like to focus specifically on the topic of utility and instrumental value opportunities of NFTs in the Metaverse.
All right.
So here you can see the gallery of NFTs. And as you see, NFTs fall into two broad categories: the artistic and the functional. The artistic NFTs get their value from attractiveness, sentimentality, and rarity. This kind is often used as a collectible item. But the functional NFTs get their value from what they can perform or the task they help to perform. And this type of value is also known as instrumental value. For example, NFTs can provide proof of ownership for your house, your car, or this bicycle. And it can grant access to exclusive events or also more metaverse experiences.
Yes, more metaverse experiences, please.
Today in this experience, we will demonstrate two classes of functional NFTs. So NFTs based on durable goods and NFTs as a ticket. And first, I would like to start with the NFT for durable goods. As we know, Terry's birthday is next week.
Wait. How do you know that?
Yeah, you told me at the Oktoberfest, don't you remember?
Yes, there was a lot of drinking.
Yeah. So I will now go online and choose a bike for him. And therefore, I will use a WebXR-based bike shop. And jump out for a second.
Loading. Yeah.
So much light when you come out of the Quest.
The real world is bright and frightening. It's also tactile. Oh, should I switch to the video? Where's it loading? So we have backup plans for everything. All right, let's play the video. Here we go. It's always good.
So you can come later and check that out live.
Right. So it's a live WebXR app, right? And what we have here is a video showing the exact same experience that we would have done live.
So what we choose for sure is a bike for Terry. And he's not as small as I am. We choose a bigger size. And I can measure with WebXR how big the bike is actually and if it fits to him. And for sure, we have to make sure that his bike is going to be magenta.
Absolutely.
You would guess, right?
Completely right.
So I'm going to buy that bike online for him with WebXR and choose the correct size. The shop also rewards me with an NFT for this specific bike, which I customized for him. And then later on, I will transfer not just the bike physically to him, but also the NFT to his wallet. And with this NFT, he has more use cases and as he can go now.
That's very cool. You know, the NFT can be used as a ticket or access pass. And for example, I can use the NFT that Rafaela transferred to me, put into my MetaMask wallet, to act as a tool to access a custom metaverse experience just for magenta bike owners. And so let's take a look at that. So we have a portal here we'll navigate to. And if Rafaela were to try to jump into this particular experience, she would be prevented from doing so because she does not have the correct NFT in her wallet, which is connected to the Metaverse platform that we're using. But I do, of course, have it because she transferred it to my wallet as my birthday present. And so I can jump directly into this custom experience. So it's creating utility value in the NFT, allowing me to have access to this cool club. Now, the club has, you know, all the typical things that you'd expect to see in a social club. But it also has some unique things that maybe you might not have seen before. For example, one of the things that we can do is, since the NFT is tied to an actual physical object that has a unique serial number, and that serial number is encoded into the NFT as part of its metadata, we can associate services through the NFT to the object in the real world. So in this case, I could buy insurance in the club for my bike. So if I were to take a fall or get hit by a vehicle or something, then that bike would get covered for that damage. And so that's something we can activate inside of these metaverse experiences, tying the utility function of the NFT in. We also, of course, can have the normal things where I have the gallery, I can show off my bike. Of course, mine's magenta, has to be. And we can have interactions with other club members, so we can start to do things like enable calendar access, so we can do shared events in the real world, where we can organize and plan out an opportunity to travel with each other, doing a bike road trip someplace beautiful, like along the Rhine River, right, in Germany. So I'm kind of feeling bad here that I'm in this bike club by myself, and I left Rafaela in the wind, if you will. So let's go back where she has access. Let's travel to her and see what she's up to.
Yeah, so meanwhile you were in your extra special super duper Spikers club, I enhanced our presentation a little bit more, and I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, I'm traversing in. I'll follow you along. So I actually think one of the things that we should do now is give people a little bit of a demonstration on how you actually create an NFT. I think one of the problems that we'd like to address is to kind of create some clarity and simplify what are generally obfuscated concepts for some people. And minting itself is actually a fairly straightforward process. So we're going to, for expediency of time, I'm not going to do it live, but we're going to show you the stages that you would have gone through if you were to jump in. In this case, we'll use a platform, that marketplace called OpenSea, which provides a very simple way for me to create an NFT and add metadata to it that I can use to enable utility function when I apply that NFT in different Metaverse experiences. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm actually loading the 3D object or the asset files up. In this case, we're taking the GLB of the bike that was generated by the bike shop, and we're uploading that into this platform. But we would have this be a turnkey. I'm just showing you how to do it manually. Obviously, this would be created for you automatically through the Bike Club store system. And we add a preview image and a name for the asset. So pretty straightforward. Then we can, like an internet link, we can put in a reference to like maybe my homepage, because I have a blog about biking. I could link that in there. And that might be something that could be collected by the bike shop when it asks, hey, would you like to customize the NFT that we're creating for you? Would you like to associate this with a particular personal blog, or do you want to have your own description of your bike? Do you want to give it a bike name? That sort of thing. And then you add this to a collection. So in OpenSea, you define a collection of NFTs. It's just a group, arbitrary grouping. Not the type of collection you might be used to, like a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape Yacht Club kind of collection of 10,000 variants of the same sort of thing. This can be a collection of one. Or it could be a collection of all my bike NFTs or whatever I feel like, locomotion NFTs. And then you add properties. These properties are really important because these add the metadata that enable the NFT to kick in this sort of utility function that you'd utilize in other platforms as they look into the metadata. The smart contract information can be then utilized to enable things like the insurance services that we talked about. So here, for example, I added something called locomotion method. So imagine that if I were to buy a real-world bike, and then I were to get a bike NFT, and then I put that bike NFT into a Metaverse experience, that Metaverse experience may say, if your bike has, if your NFT has bicycle locomotion as a metadata, then it will enable you to ride your bike in that Metaverse experience, or your hoverboard, or ride your boat, or fly, or whatever. And so this is a way that we can start to take the NFT and turn it into more of a utility. Then, of course, you define for the what we call minting process, which is really this creation process. There's something called lazy minting, where I don't actually have to pay for the privilege of minting at this time. Now, in the case of the bike shop, it probably would pay for that minting for me. But in this, and then it would get transferred to me and be included in the price of the bike. But if I were to just make an NFT like I'm doing here, then I can just generate that, add it onto the blockchain for myself. And there's only a fee charged when the NFT is transferred or sold to somebody else. And then there's a cost associated to that that's paid by the buyer, not by you as a seller trying to create a business market. So lazy minting is really, really key. And in this case, we're using the Polygon blockchain to associate our asset. And then there's a bunch of additional metadata that you can associate with the NFT. In this case, just as a sample, I put in the height in centimeters for the bicycle. You can enable additional content to be associated with the NFT. So let's say you buy a super premium real-world bike, and as part of that, the guy who designed the bike made a video, and that video talks about his design thinking about the bicycle and why he loves the color magenta, and then you get that content included in your particular bundle, and you have that associated with the NFT. And if you're making an NFT, then you can also generate your own exclusive content that gets packaged in that and made available to the owner of the NFT, whoever that might be in the future. And that's it. And then you've created a Magenta Bike NFT.
Cool.
So let's continue.
Yeah. So as we now showed what NFTs can be used for and how they can be created, I would also like to talk about one more important piece to use NFTs in the metaverse. And this is a wallet. So here you can see some examples of wallets. For example, we do have the Porsche, we have like socks, we have the fanny pack, banana pack, the kangaroos jumping around, and yeah, there are like many different options to store your stuff in wallets.
Yeah, well, I think kangaroos are a little bit cumbersome, shall we say, to use as wallets, but you know, it's clear to me that the biggest limitation of real-world wallets is that they can only contain a limited amount of items. And, well, you know, unless you have one of these handy infinite bags of holding.
Yeah, except I hate to break it to you, Terry, bags of holding aren't real.
What?
Except maybe in the metaverse.
Ah, okay.
So not only does a digital wallet have infinite capacity, it can store many different things in things to addition to cryptocurrency, like gift cards, member cards, event tickets, and many different options.
You mean all of the digital and physical examples of NFTs that we shared about earlier can be put in a wallet?
Exactly. And once you have created a wallet, you connect it with a metaverse experience to be able to then use it. So earlier, we connected Terry's MetaMask wallet to the Spatial platform. This allowed Spatial to check for the ownership of the NFT, which was in his wallet, and that is required to be able to enter the Magenta Spikers Club.
You know, Rafaela, users want to be able to take their NFTs and freely use them anywhere in the metaverse, in any metaverse experiences. So why don't we talk about how we're working to enable that?
Good idea. So, we have explained how NFTs provide value in the metaverse. But with an ever-increasing number of different metaverse experiences, the lack of open standards and interoperability will prevent us from enjoying the maximum value of these NFTs.
You know, that's right. A group of us were really concerned about this last year and started discussion and consensus building on the importance of open standards and interoperability, and making sure that that was really a predominant focus on the metaverse as it's being, you know, built out. So as a result, there's hundreds of companies and standards organizations that have now joined the Metaverse Standards Forum. And you can check it out at the URL that's shown, metaverse-standards.org. As you can see by looking at the list of priority topics for the working groups that are currently created, that NFTs are a priority sort of sub-theme for these working groups. So it's going to be really important that we do this because it will allow all of us globally to get the best possible enjoyment of user experiences that we utilize in the metaverse.
So speaking of wallets and standards, we should also spend a moment to discuss the regulatory changes that are likely to happen in the next year or two.
For sure. Rafaela, why is there a KYC logo that looks like Kentucky Fried Chicken on the screen?
Because I really like Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Okay.
Oh. It's to make the point that we are starting to see regulatory impact everywhere to prevent fraud and criminal activity by implementing Know Your Customer, KYC, standards. KYC is required for financial institutions verifying a customer's identity to help prevent money laundering, financial fraud, identity theft, financial terrorism, and other financial crimes. As more and more value is stored in the blockchain NFTs, it is important to have safeguards against bad actors.
That's right. And, you know, however, that being said, there's more regulatory changes coming. The upcoming Markets in Crypto Assets, or MiCA, legislation has draft provisions that would apply to some assets that are currently categorized as NFTs. under MiCA, NFTs which are issued as part of a collection like Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks would be basically considered a security because your ownership of one of those NFTs would be considered part of a collection which has non-unique value. And so this creates a lot of potential significant regulatory process involved in interacting with these types of NFTs. Now, one of the reasons that we focus today on talking about NFTs that have utility or instrumental value is that under the MiCA draft regulations, these would be not treated as securities and therefore would be likely easier to be sold or tradable to others. It's going to take some time before this draft provision becomes law. We probably think 2024, but it's important for you to pay attention to these regulatory changes because they're going to impact the way we do business, at least in the EU. And so it's important to go pay attention that these changes are coming and read ahead.
Okay, Terry, thanks a lot for the explanations. Before we jump out of our metaverse, how about if we take a last selfie?
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that, shall we? I'm sorry, did we say something about not being narcissistic? I apologize. Woo! Yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Right. You can see we've taken a few selfies. Put them on the board. We've got to make sure we put that on social media later, all right?
Exactly.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and take your headset off. And before we end our presentation, we'd like to share some important takeaways.
So I would say, charge your batteries. The metaverse is always there.
That's right. And NFTs based on physical assets will disrupt several industries as they transition to exist in the metaverse.
So it's not all about glorified, worthless PNGs.
Yeah, and open standards and interoperability are key to ensuring that we get the most value from our NFTs by being able to use them freely across the metaverse.
So NFTs with an instrumental value will get more and more use cases, and they will become more and more important.
That's right.
So it's not just about narcissism and greed.
But speaking about narcissism and greed, it really is my birthday on October 3rd, so you can send your NFTs to my wallet at nftxr.eth.
And I think we have to leave now, Terry.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.